Warm greetings from the Heights Inn. This is Everyday Shenanigans. Thanks for joining me. My first source of information will be by KARE 11 News, and this is pertaining to the death of George Floyd and the trial that has come about finally, and this is the said information. Chauvin's attorney says he and other lawyers found George Floyd's drugs in the back of a police car. Derek Chauvin's attorney revealed in court that BCA investigators apparently missed drugs belonging to Floyd in the back of a police car. During routine motions Monday afternoon, Derek Chauvin's attorney Eric Nelson revealed that investigators apparently missed something in the back of the police car officers tried putting George Floyd into the evening he died. It was very apparent what was in Squad 320 was controlled substances, Nelson said. The Minneapolis Police Department squad car has been in storage at the Minnesota Bureau of Criminal Apprehension garage pending this trial. One day, a couple of months ago, Nelson, along with the other defense attorneys and some staff members, went there to look over the car. Inside, Nelson said they spotted some chewed-up pills and a full pill, and the state tested them. They are, in fact, methamphetamine and fentanyl, and they contain the DNA of George Floyd, Nelson said. The implication is that the drugs were in Floyd's mouth, and he spit them out when the former officers were trying to place him in the police car. The state has given no explanation how the BCA could have missed that potential evidence. Nelson brought it up Monday in the course of arguing for the 2019 arrest of George Floyd to be allowed as evidence, which Judge Peter Cahill said he most likely will not allow it. But the drug evidence itself will likely play a key role in Chauvin's defense. They plan on claiming Floyd died of a drug overdose rather than from Chauvin's knee on Floyd's neck. In December, the BCA had to search Floyd's car a second time because they failed to collect some pieces of evidence. According to a search warrant, they ended up finding fentanyl and meth. And that is the said information by KARE 11, my first source pertaining to Mr. Floyd. My second piece of information is that they have commenced to finding a panel of 12 members to hear the said information pertaining to the death of Mr. Floyd. If you need verification for that storyline, UPI News is the source. 2 jurors selected in the trial of officer charged with killing George Floyd. Jury selection for the trial of former Minneapolis police officer Derek Chauvin and the killing of George Floyd began on Tuesday following a delay as prosecutors sought to reinstate a murder charge. The court heard from 8 prospective jurors and selected 2 to hear arguments as Chauvin, 45, currently faces charges of second-degree unintentional murder and second-degree manslaughter after he was seen on video kneeling on 46-year-old Floyd's neck for several minutes as he was handcuffed on the pavement last May. Hennepin County District Judge Peter Cahill and the attorneys on the case questioned potential jurors about their knowledge of the case and surrounding media coverage, as well as a 13-page questionnaire sent out months before the selection process began. A man who works as a chemist for an environmental testing company was selected as the first juror. He told the court he has not seen the video of Floyd's death and described himself as an advocate of community policing who believes all lives matter equally. The second juror selected as a woman who said her uncle is a police officer. She said she had watched the video of Floyd's death once and was super excited to be called to serve on the jury. Tuesday's selections came after the Minnesota Court of Appeals ruled that Cahill erred in dismissing a third-degree murder count against Chauvin and his lawyers on Monday, appealed to the state Supreme Court as well as calls by prosecutors to stop jury selection until the dispute is resolved. The Minnesota Supreme Court issued an order Tuesday acknowledging it had received the request from Chauvin's lawyers, granting prosecutors until Tuesday evening to respond. After sending potential jurors home Monday, Cahill said he intended to continue with the jury selection process until the appellate court told him to do otherwise. 3 weeks have been allotted for jury selection, while opening statements in the trial are currently scheduled for March 29th. That said information is by UPI News. So I brought you 2 sources pertaining to of the trial of Derek Chauvin in the murder of George Floyd in Minneapolis. He looked rather chunky in court. The hair has thinned immensely. He didn't look very well, Mr. Chauvin. This is atrocious. They're just now searching a car months ago, now 2 times total, finding drugs in the car, testing it, and saying that it belongs to Mr. Floyd. Indeed, if it's true, still, what's the point? Well, what is your point? This is all over a $20 bill. The man took a death walk from across the street from the store to a police car where he had issues getting in the car, saying something about he couldn't, breathe or wasn't comfortable, He ends up out of the car, and next thing you know, he's on the ground fighting for his life, visible to spectators to film. So imagine going to the store to spend some money on whatever, and to end up lying on the ground. And as I stated, indeed, if the money was counterfeit, it should have never led to this. The person who was ringing up the purchase could have just easily said, "Sir, this money is fraudulent. Please don't come back into the store." That could have been the end of that. And I also found it odd that a person would spend money in a store that 9 times out of 10 he frequent often. Why even risk passing counterfeit money? But I was not there. And that's neither here nor there either, because now Mr. Floyd is deceased. This is a crazy, whack story, but it's a story that's often told in the African American community of things going terribly awry dealing with the police. And of course, all cases are not the same, but I feel like this is a case that could have been easily avoided. Prayers to the Floyd family, his children, because I heard it was very hard for the sister who was in the courtroom when there was the issue of having that evidence admitted into the proceedings. Someone told me she walked out of court before she heard the actual ruling from the judge. But as you see, the judge is not allowing that said information pertaining to the narcotics to be entered into the proceedings. And as I state, you had months to check that automobile. Why would you wait so long to check it? And in the end, it doesn't have anything to do with the actions of Mr. Chauvin on that fateful evening. He made a sound decision to keep his knee on Mr. Floyd's neck, and Mr. Floyd died, crying for his mother and pleading for his life. I will bring you an update pertaining to this story. As this article states, March 29th will be opening statements. I will bring you this information pertaining to that day when court starts and the trial itself. Any other updates pertaining to any information I get, I will bring you that said information. I did find it a bit appalling, if it is actually true, that the lady said she was excited to be on the jury panel. Why would you be excited? I don't think those are the appropriate words to use on any trial pertaining to murder, if indeed she did say that. Not the appropriate words to use, ma'am. Like, share, subscribe, drop your comments below. This is Everyday Shenanigans. Bye.